Hey guys, all things Middle Earth here. Welcome to the channel. I just want to make a very quick video on the siege formations in Rise 2.0. It's honestly so limiting that I'm not going to spend 10 minutes trying to overly complicate it and talk through things. I just want to give you the options so you can better siege in the game, because I think it is a quantity over quality thing now. I think everyone on the teams needs to be sieging, so don't be that guy that's letting your team down. I just want to show you guys exactly who you should use, what gear, and what troops should be on them if you have them. And again, I'll give you the options, so if you don't have them, you can pick and choose what works for you. But I'm just gonna jump. We're not gonna do an intro because I don't think this needs to be overcomplicated. The first thing is the commanders. There are 3 commanders that have siege abilities in the game. That is Gothmog, Grishnak, and Ugthak. Gothmog's is his R5. It is universal, 4 points of siege increased. These two, Ugthak and Grishnak, it is just for orcs and Uruk-hai, which is important because it's going to affect the troops that we're using. However, if you don't have these guys and you just want to know about what's the best troop, you don't have these commanders to actually buff orcs or Uruk-hai specifically, we're going to talk about that in a second as well. But these are the 3 guys, and I should have said it earlier. We're only a minute in, so hopefully you're still here. This is obviously so biased to the evil side. If you're on the good side, you should be used to it, but I'm just expecting the comments where's the good side? There isn't anything for the good side, and that's just the way it is right now. Should there be a good side Gothmog? Should there be more options? Maybe, probably. If you're good side RP, it's just, I think it's just brute force. I would literally go through your troops and just see who does the highest siege number. You're just going to load formations up, and we'll talk about gear that will work universally. But if you're really trying to do a lot of siege and really up your game, it's going to be the evil side. It's going to be these 3 commanders right here. Now, as far as troops, I get a spreadsheet here because that's how I like to do things around here. As far as evil units we're looking at here, alchemists do 30 siege. Now, this spreadsheet is set up to calculate actual siege, because depending on the supply of the troop, that's how many you can take into or load onto a formation. So if the supply is lower, there are more of them. So alchemists have 1 per supply, whereas something like mountain trolls have 25 per supply. So 25 alchemists equal 1 mountain troll, sort of. So over here, if we scroll over, it actually shows an actual siege number. So you can see the actual siege for the trolls is actually 20 when you factor in the per supply, where something like alchemists, since it's 1 per supply, their siege is just 1 to 1. So their siege is 30. So alchemists are who we're going to use, especially if you have those 2 commanders we talked about, Grishnak and Ugthak. You're going to actually get benefit from their siege abilities. If you don't, the other option that does not care about, what troop you use is going to be Mumakil. Mumakil do 4,000 siege, but they are 100 per supply, so their actual siege is 40. So Mumakil, to my knowledge, are the highest siege troop in the game. So if you don't have specific commanders or don't want to run commanders and just want to know what's the highest damage I can put on anybody, it's going to be Mumakil that get the job done. But we're not going to go that route because they take longer to make. They don't line up with as many gear options or skill options. But again, if you're hey, I don't have gear, I don't have, it's just you're putting random troops on random commanders. If it's Mumakil, you'll at least do more than, running something else that's way down here that does 2.5 siege per supply. So Mumakil is the highest, but we're going to focus on alchemists as the troop option. Now, last but not least, we're going to talk about the different gear options, and there are not that many. First of all, if you still have classic gear, congratulations. If you have Shield of the White Hand, the classic version with the Siege of Uruk-hai, this is going to be the best siege option. It's not really that close. This is, I think, 3 times refined. I have 2 of them that are 3 times refined, and this is equal to strengthening a Orthanc Devilry, which is the 2.0 piece that actually is the only piece that has siege on it. This is equal to that being fully strengthened. And again, strengthening accessories all the way is expensive. I have 3, so I can't even do a full formation. So for me, I'm not going to run a siege piece strengthened up. That just doesn't make sense. So best case is that you have classic gear if you did save it. If not, or you just didn't have it in classic, it's not the end of the world. But I just want to make sure you guys know that if you have these, use them. They're the best option for siege. The next thing we can consider is that Orthanc Devilry that we talked about. That's technically going to be the best one, although I'm going to try and steer you guys away from it if I can. I need to look here. It's inside of this one. So Orthanc Devilry is going to do 4 siege unstrengthened, which is okay. And if you do strengthen it up all the way for whatever reason, it's going to get it up to 12. So that is the best option. However, if you're like me and you don't have a crap ton of accessories to strengthen these things up over and over and over again, these are probably going to be unstrengthened for you. And at that point, I would just use them to strengthen other accessories and use the siege ladder set. Now, the siege ladder set does 10%. 10% of our 30 on alchemists is 3. So this is like +3 siege for Alchemist or +4 siege for Mumakil. So depending on who you're using, it's very, very close. And again, you can run green gear with Siege Ladder and save your actual gear to strengthen up your formations for fighting. I think that makes a lot more sense. But if you're a crazy, crazy, crazy whale or kraken or whatever, and you want to know what the best is, it's going to be in 2.0 at least. It's going to be the Orthancs Devilry, obviously being fully strengthened. And if you had siege sets, the Siege Ladder sets on here, that'd be great. I cannot imagine, at least for a while, anyone having like complete siege sets with multiples of these. I just think that's going to be crazy. But if you got lucky and rolled a couple, you could start building them if you really want to be the siege guy. But overall, I think it's so expensive for the actual return that it's just worth running whatever gear you have. Again, I would probably run purples and strengthen them up so like your troops actually, if they happen to get hit, aren't going to die. Again, the nice thing about Siege in 2.0 is your formations can actually still do some damage. Like they don't get wiped with no losses like they used to. So there is a benefit to kind of running even like purple gear with the siege set, but that, you know, boosts unit attack, for example. That's not a bad thing. So those are the three kind of key points: commanders, items, and the troops we're going to run. I will make one last note on the formation. There's only 3 commanders that have siege. So for me, I run a 4th one personally, like Black Serpent's an example that I use often. I run a 4th commander who's going to help them do other things well. So when it's very, very early game, I will start running these guys with whoever I can that they can, you know, boost with like Orcs and Urkai or whatever with purple gear, and I sweep with them. So I'm sweeping with them so they're leveling up. I'm sweeping with them to complete my scroll tips so I can get my scrolls and level them up or level my main formations up, whatever it is. But I'm using them kind of in the background so that when I need them mid game, late game, whatever, when I like really need to start doing siege, they're leveled up a bit, because the more level they have, the more supply they have, the more alchemists they can have on them, more siege, if that makes sense. So as the 4th, there's no best option, but I would just look through your commanders and see if there's someone who is just going to, in some way, shape, or form, buff troops. If you got Witch King and you want to give all these alchemists follow-up for the first couple rounds, that's great. That's going to help you when you're sweeping to do more damage and take less troop loss. Again, you could pick someone who reduces damage, who adds defense, who adds attack, whatever it is. Just don't pick someone random, like, you know, that does nothing for the troops, because I don't think that makes sense. I would just support the troops so you're losing less of them as you use them early game to level them up to do their actual purpose, which is siege. So just wanted to cover that really quickly. If you're wondering who to run as a 4th, for me, I like Black Serpent, I like Witch King. If I wasn't using the Gandalfs for whatever reason, which would be kind of crazy, but if I wasn't using the Gandalfs, something like White Council could really help to just make sure they're not taking any damage, so you don't have to make too many alchemists. But again, you can get creative based on what you have available. But again, just wanted to put this little note out there for anyone wanting to improve their siege or wondering what to do. It's very, very simple. There are not a lot of options. It's Evil Side. It's those 3 commanders. It's basically one piece of gear with one set, and in my opinion, it's alchemists. Like I said, if you don't have these commanders, you don't have any gear, whatever, you don't care about that, you just want troops on high-level commanders, it's going to be Mumakil. So you can do Mumakil, but again, if you want kind of the efficient, like actual siege setup, it's going to be alchemist. So that is going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.